Hello students, let us learn the second chapter of your geography textbook today. Land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. We will study in detail about these very important natural resources in this chapter. We depend on these natural resources for survival. All these forms the basic component of our ecosystem. Let us know more about these natural resources, their conservation and their role in our ecosystem in this chapter. The people who stay in different parts of the world lead different lives according to the climate and land variety of that place. Varied regions have differences in the quality of water, soil, land, animals, technology usage and natural vegetation. A place may differ from another place on the basic availability of these resources. Let us learn about these natural resources in detail. We studied what natural resources are in chapter 1. Hope you remember that. Natural resources are the materials or substances occurring in nature which can be used for meeting our needs. These five are the most important natural resources: land, water, soil, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. Natural vegetation is the plants and wildlife resources are the animals. Let us learn in detail about these five natural resources. Let's start with land. It's a very important natural resource because we obtain what we need for our existence and survival from this land. About 30% of the total area of the surface of our planet Earth is occupied by land. Still, all part of this land is not usable. We are unable to use the available land because of many reasons. The regions which usually consist of steep slopes of mountains, thick forest regions, low-lying areas that are prone to waterlogging, rugged or uneven topographies and desert areas usually has less population, or these regions are unoccupied or uninhabited because of the unfavorable climatic conditions or inaccessibility. On the other hand, river valleys and plains are some of the most densely populated regions across the globe. And in these regions, agriculture is the most suitable occupation of the people. Population is not evenly or equally distributed all over the world because of the different characteristics of climate and land. Now let us learn how this available land is utilized, the land use pattern. As I told you earlier, people depend on the land for different usages such as agriculture, mining, building roads and houses, forestry and setting up of factories and many such. This process is known as land usage. The usage of land is determined by different factors such as water availability, topography or the physical feature or structure of the land, climate, soil, minerals, etc. Not only that, different human factors like population and technology are a few of the important determinants of pattern of land usage. On the basis of ownership, the land is classified into two types: community land and private land. Let's see what is this community land. The whole community owns and maintains this type of land for common usages such as collection of medicinal herbs or nuts, fodder or food for the animals, or fruits and vegetables. Another name for this type of land is common property resources. And about private land, it's nothing but the land that is owned by an individual. As the population has increased, people and their various demands from the land have also increased. But the land is available in limited amounts and the land is not expandable, or it is not expanding. The land quality is also different at various places and it is reducing day by day because of unscientific or reckless usage of this available land. And since the land is not expandable and the demand from the land is increasing, common lands or the lands which everyone has equal right to use or they have equal access have been encroached in order to build housing complexes or shopping centers in urban areas. Similarly, in rural areas, people clear forests to make space for practicing agriculture. In the last few years, there has been a change in the ways people utilize land for different purposes. The quality of soil has reduced because of many natural and human activities. What are those natural and human activities? Soil erosion, landslides, desertification, degradation of land are some of the major reasons which have resulted in environmental threats. What is desertification? It is the process by which fertile land becomes desert as a result of drought, deforestation or inappropriate agriculture. Construction activities and agricultural expansion are also responsible for these issues. The natural resources have to be saved from being degraded. The main reason for land degradation is human activities. It is necessary that we should be very careful while using the land so that this resource may be conserved for the future generation. Let us find out how we can conserve the land resource. As the population of the world increased, the different demands of people also have increased. Due to this, arable or cultivable land and forest cover have started to degrade on a large scale. This has also led to the complete destruction of these natural resources. Therefore, the government needs to introduce laws in order to stop the process of land degradation. Here are some measures to conserve land resources. Regulate or control the use of chemical fertilizers or pesticides because these chemical fertilizers or pesticides degrade the land. Another method is land reclamation. Land reclamation is the cultivation of waste land. The land that is left uncultivated for a long period of time should be put to use. The other way is to introduce measures to control overgrazing. Why should we control overgrazing? Because overgrazing leads to loosening of the topsoil, and this loosened topsoil will be eroded by water or wind, and that will reduce the quality of land. Next method is afforestation or planting trees. These are some of the ways to conserve land resources. Now let us learn about the other important natural resource. It is soil. Soil is a thin layer of powdered substance that covers the surface of the earth. It is linked closely with the land. The type of soil is determined by the different landforms. Weathered rocks, minerals, and organic matter that is found on the earth are responsible for soil formation. The process of soil formation takes place due to weathering. What is weathering? Weathering is the breaking up and decaying of exposed rocks by temperature changes, frost action, plants, animals, and human activities. The soil becomes fertile if it is made up of the right mix of organic matter or living organisms as well as minerals. You know one important fact about the soil formation? To form 1 centimeter of soil, it takes hundreds of years. Now look at this picture. The lowermost layer of the soil is called parent rock. Above the layer lies the weathered rock material, the rock that is broken because of water and changes in temperature. The layer above that is known as subsoil, which consists of silt, clay, and sand. The topsoil or the top layer of the soil is the one which is visible to our eyes, and it consists of vegetation and humus. What is humus? Humus is the organic content of the soil. It is formed by the decomposition of leaves and other plant materials by microorganisms in the soil. Now let us learn about the factors of soil formation. The major factors of the soil formation are the nature of the parent rock and climatic factors. Other factors are the topography, role of the organic material, and the time taken for the composition of soil formation. Now let us see the factors that affect the soil formation. Parent rock. It is responsible for determining chemical properties, permeability or ability to absorb, color, mineral content, and texture. Next is relief. Slope and altitude are responsible for determining how the soil would get accumulated. And the third one is flora, fauna, and microorganisms. Dead plants and animals get decomposed by microorganisms. This causes the humus to form on the soil and it increases the fertility of the soil. The fourth one is time. It determines how thick the soil profile would be. The more the time taken, the more the thickness of the soil. The fifth one and the last one is climate. The climatic factors such as rainfall and temperature are responsible for influencing the rate of weathering and the formation of humus. Now let us see the degradation of the soil and measures of conservation. Soil erosion and the depletion of the soil are a few of the major reasons that pose a threat to soil in the form of a natural resource. The factors which are responsible for soil erosion are rain wash, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers and pesticides, floods, and deforestation. These are some of the methods that we can use to conserve the soil resource. The first one is mulching. A type of organic matter layer such as straw is used to cover bare grounds present between plants. It is a useful way to retain the moisture or water content of the soil. The second one is rock dam. In order to slow down the flow of water, rocks are piled up in the course of water. It is useful in preventing gullies, which further strengthens the soil of that place. The third one is contour barriers. Soil, stone and grass can be utilized to build up barriers on the side of contours or boundaries. In the front of these barriers, trenches are constructed so that water could be collected in that. The fourth one is shelter belts. People residing in dry and coastal regions plant trees in rows so that wind movement could be checked and controlled in order to protect soil cover. Terrace farming. Terraces or broad flats are constructed on slopes that are steep in nature. In this way, people are able to grow different kinds of crops on flat surfaces on the terraces. This prevents soil erosion and surface runoff. The sixth one is intercropping. Alternate rows are constructed in order to grow different types of crops to protect the soil from washing away. The seventh one is contour plowing. Plowing parallel to the contour or boundary of a hill slope to form a natural barrier for water to flow down the slope, which will reduce the quick washing of topsoil. Now let us learn about the other important natural resource. It is water. It is a necessary renewable resource. Water covers almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface. Hence, our planet is also called as a water planet. Around 3.5 billion years back, life began for the first time in the waters of the oceans. Oceans occupy more than 2/3 of the Earth's surface. It supports various forms of plant and animal life. However, the waters of the oceans can't be utilized for regular consumption since they are saline in nature. Fresh water occupies more than 2.7% of the total available amount of water, which is very low. Out of this 2.7% of the fresh water present in the earth, approximately 70% of water is available in the form of ice sheets and glaciers in Greenland, Antarctica, and other mountainous regions of the world. These sources are inaccessible due to their location, and because of this, humans can use only 1% of the available fresh water. They are found as surface water in the form of lakes and rivers, as groundwaters and water vapor present in the Earth's atmosphere. Currently, the most precious substance on the surface of the Earth is fresh water. You cannot add or subtract water from the Earth's surface. Its total volume will always be the same. As the water is in constant motion, it keeps cycling from one ocean to another, land, rivers, lakes, and air via different processes such as runoff, precipitation, and evaporation. And this whole process is referred to as water cycle. Now let us see about the utilization of water. Water in huge amounts is utilized by human beings for processes such as washing and drinking. Not only for washing and drinking, humans use water in the process of production, which includes water being utilized for generation of electricity, industries, agriculture, etc. Increasing population, rising demands for food and cash crops, increasing urbanization, and rising standards of living are the major factors leading to shortage in supply of fresh water. Water scarcity occurs because of drying up of water sources or water pollution by humans. Now let us find about the problems of water availability. Many places in the world are facing water shortages today. Majority of Asia, Australia, Africa, Mexico, Western USA, and various South American countries are facing this issue of water scarcity. Due to variations in annual or seasonal precipitation, water shortages are occurring at a rapid rate. So we can say water shortage is a result of variation in seasonal or annual precipitation, or it is caused by over-exploitation and pollution of water sources by humans. Now let us find out the ways for conservation of water resources. One of the severe problems that the world faces today is scarcity of clean water. It is almost impossible to access sufficient clean water today. The government is taking various steps to conserve water resources. Although water is a renewable resource, still pollution and overuse are making it unfit for use. Discharge of untreated sewage, chemical waste, and the waste from factories are a few of the major sources of water pollution. Due to these, water becomes contaminated or polluted with dangerous chemicals such as pesticides, metals, and nitrates. These chemicals are non-biodegradable in nature and can enter the body of humans via water. Water pollution can be controlled by treating the water from industries before they are released into the water bodies. Planting more trees and plants is another method to conserve water because vegetation cover and forests are capable of slowing the surface runoff and refill the underground water. To prevent surface runoff, another good method is water harvesting. The canals which are used to irrigate fields need to be linked in a proper manner in order to minimize losses caused due to leakage of water. In order to check water losses caused due to seepage or leakage, we could adopt the method of water sprinkling in the fields. It also reduces water loss caused by irrigation. Those regions which are dry or have high rates of evaporation, we can use trickle or drip irrigation. We can save an enormous amount of water by using these methods. Now let us find about natural vegetation and wildlife resources. Biosphere is a region that lies in a narrow zone of contact between atmosphere, lithosphere and hydrosphere. You can find natural vegetation and wildlife only in the biosphere. In this biosphere, all living beings are interdependent and interrelated on each other in order to survive. This system of life supporting each other is known as the ecosystem. Wildlife along with vegetation are valuable and useful resources. From plants we get oxygen for breathing, timber, shelter for those animals living in the wild or in the forest. The plants strengthen the soil so that different crops could be produced. Underground water is stored by plants. Plants function as shelter belts. They provide us with fruits, vegetables, latex, medicinal herbs, turpentine oil, etc. There are several other important usages of plants as well. And now about the wildlife. Insects, animals, birds, along with aquatic living beings fall under wildlife. From them, we get hides, milk, wool, and meat. Insects such as bees help in pollination of flowers and they produce honey. Vultures are fed on dead organisms. They keep the environment clean. They are an example of scavengers. They are one of the important cleaners of the environment. All animals, irrespective of their size, are important in maintaining balance in this ecosystem. And now let us find out about the distribution of natural vegetation. The growth of vegetation in a region is interdependent on moisture and temperature. The vegetation types found across the globe are grouped into scrubs, forest, tundra, and grasslands. The areas which receive heavy rainfall have abundant growth of plants. The forests are associated with areas that have water supply in abundance. In an area, if the amount of moisture decreases, density and size of trees found in that area also decrease. Grasses and short trees can be found in those regions which have moderate rainfall. They are the grassland regions. Scrubs and thorny shrubs can be found growing in areas that have low rainfall. Plants of these regions have deep roots and their leaves have thorny and waxy surfaces which prevent loss of moisture during the process of transpiration. Cold polar regions have tundra vegetation that have lichens and mosses. At present, we have more population residing on the earth than it was 3 centuries back. In order to provide food for this large population, authorities have been forced to clear vast amounts of forest lands so that crops can be grown. Due to this, forest cover on the earth started decreasing and disappearing. Forests are a valuable resource that needs to be conserved. And now let us see the conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife. Forests are an example of wealth provided by nature. Plants are responsible for providing shelter to animals found in the wild. Together, they are responsible for maintaining the ecosystem. Interference by humans in various forms and climatic changes have resulted in animals and plants losing their natural habitat, that is, the forests. Several species have become endangered or vulnerable. Many of them are on the verge of becoming extinct as well. Some of the major reasons due to which the forest resources are being depleted are forest fire, deforestation, landslide, soil erosion, tsunami, and human activities like construction works. Another big concern is poaching. What is poaching? It is illegal hunting of wild animals. Due to this, many wildlife species are going extinct or they are disappeared. The wild animals are killed on large scale in order to collect feathers, nails, horns, skin, hides, fur, etc. Examples of such poached animals are elephants, tigers, black buck, snow leopard, rhinos, peacocks, vultures, ostriches, and lions. We can protect these species by taking appropriate steps or measures. Biosphere reserves, national parks, and wildlife sanctuaries have been set up in order to protect wildlife and natural vegetation. Here is a task given to you. Find out what all these three are. If we do not disturb the wildlife, there will always remain a balance in the wildlife. Habitats belonging to wildlife have been disturbed on large scale due to activities of humans. Several birds and animals have gone extinct or are on the verge of extinction due to indiscriminate killing. Awareness programs like social forestry and Vana Mahotsava should be encouraged at the regional and community level. School children must be introduced to the concept of bird watching. They should visit forest camps to know about habitats of varied species. Many countries have made laws against the killing of wild animals and birds as well as their trading. Killing of animals such as peacocks, lions, deer, great Indian bustard and tigers is illegal in our country. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species (CITES) of Fauna and Flora has been established. It contains a list of several species of birds and animals whose trade is banned globally. It is the moral duty of every person on this planet to conserve our natural resources. That's all the chapter. Now watch the video again and read chapter 2 of your geography textbook and make as many one-word questions and answers as possible. Send those questions and answers to my WhatsApp number before 5 o'clock today. Thank you for watching.